Hello viewers, welcome to K Diagnostics, Duo here. Today we have a 2016 Honda Pilot with a 3.5 liter. The complaint on this vehicle is that the start-stop feature on this vehicle momentarily doesn't work. So the start-stop feature doesn't work intermittently. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So there is a message on the dash that displays and it says keyless start system problem. So this message over here, so right over here, and when you start the engine, this message is displayed right here on the dash. I'm gonna start the engine so that I can show you that message. So as you can see, the engine is running and there's a message on the dash that says keyless start system problem. So this is what's causing the start-stop feature to not work. And this is usually caused by a defective push button. So this push start button is defective. So if you have this message displayed on your dash, you have to replace this push start button to get this issue fixed. So I already got the push start button from the Honda dealership. So here's the part number and here is the new push start button. So this is what we're going to install. So after we install this new push start button, so this push start button over here, after we install this, we're going to connect a scan tool to the vehicle and erase the trouble code. Once we erase the trouble code, this message here won't be displayed on the dash anymore and the start stop feature will start working again. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna turn off the engine. So to get this button replaced, we're gonna have to remove this lower panel here that covers the steering column. So this steering column just pops in. So we're gonna come in from this side of the steering wheel. So we're just gonna pop this out. So it just pops out like this. Okay, so right there I'm basically just prying it off. Okay, so now we're gonna come down on this side. So there's this connector here that I have to disconnect. So I'm gonna disconnect this and then I'll bring you guys back up. Alright, so here's what I did. I got this connector here disconnected. So this panel can now come down. So we got this disconnected. So the next step is gonna be removing this Phillips screw. So I'm gonna remove this screw. So we got this screw removed. So now the other step will be prying this plastic panel out. So after prying this out, we can now get enough room to go behind this panel to disconnect the switch. So here's the switch over here. So the switch has two tabs, so I hope you can see right there. So I'm pressing on these two tabs over here. So we're gonna press these two tabs and slide the switch out. Okay, so the switch has two tabs over here. You press on these two tabs and then the switch slides out. Now we're gonna disconnect the electrical connector of the switch first. So we're gonna push on this tab over here, push down and then pull. So the switch is disconnected. So now we can remove the switch. So here it comes. Just as easy as that. So that's good to go. You don't have to relearn this switch. It's just plug and play. Once you get the new switch on, you plug it and you're good to go. So now let's get the new switch out of the bag. So let's put the old switch over here. This is the old one. This is the new one. So right there. Looks nice and shiny. So we're gonna install this one. So right there, we're just gonna push this in first. So right there, and then we're gonna connect the electrical connector. It's right there. Okay, so that's good. So now we're gonna reinstall these plastic panels. Alright, so this plastic panel is installed, so it has plastic tabs that hold it in place. So this is installed, so this whole trim here just pops off. You don't have to pop off the whole trim, you just have to pop off around the start button to get access to the push button so you can replace it. So now we're gonna reinstall our Phillips screw. So this little screw over here. Right, so we got that tightened. So now we're gonna install our steering column cover. Alright, so same thing with this panel, it just pops in. So once everything is lined up, just pop it in. Alright, so that's good. So everything is back on. So now I'm gonna grab the scan tool so that we can erase the trouble code. I'm sure there's a trouble code in memory for this start/stop switch. So we're gonna erase the trouble code and then we'll take this on a test drive, and then we will double check to see if the message on the dash will no longer be on while the engine is running. So I will get the scan tool and then we'll erase the trouble codes. So I'm going to turn the key on. So now let's see if we have any trouble codes in memory for this start/stop switch. Alright, so let's scan this. So right there, the vehicle has been recognized. So let's click OK. So let's do a whole system scan on this. Alright, so the scan tool is done scanning all the control modules on the vehicle. So we don't have any trouble codes in the engine computer. We have one trouble code in the transmission, P2638, torque management feedback, signal A, range/performance. So let's keep scrolling down. We got a couple trouble codes on these other control modules. So what was causing that light to come on is this trouble code over here. This B12C5, engine start/stop switch failure. Okay, so when you have this trouble code, this B12C5, this is most likely caused by a defective push start button. Okay, so just from experience, usually when I have this trouble code on these Hondas, the issue ends up being the switch. So that's why I didn't even want to check the wiring, because I'm pretty sure the issue is just a switch. And once I clear the trouble codes, we're going to take this on a test drive. That message that was on the dash will not come on anymore. Okay, that keyless system failure, whatever the message was, that keyless the keyless system failure message will not come on anymore. So if you have this trouble code on your Honda Pilot, your problem is most likely the switch, okay? And as you can see here, it says switch failure. So usually when you have this trouble code, the issue can be the switch itself or the wiring, okay? So again, like I said, 99% of the time, the issue ends up being the switch itself. So that's why I didn't even bother checking the wiring and everything else. So let's just back out of here. I'm going to erase all these trouble codes. Okay, so whatever that's a hard fault will come back up. Alright, so I got all the trouble codes erased on pretty much all the modules. So all the hard fault codes on these other modules will come back. But the code about the start-stop switch will not come back on because we replaced the switch. Okay, so now we're gonna take this vehicle on a test drive. We're gonna drive this vehicle and we will test this stop-start feature. We will see if we go to a complete stop, the engine will shut off and then start back up once we let the foot off the brake pedal. So now I'm gonna take you guys with me on a test drive so we can test the start-stop system. So I can already see that the message is no longer displayed on the dash, so this is good. Remember before we had that message over here on the dash, so it's no longer there, which is awesome. So now let's go on a test drive and see what happens. Alright guys, so we're driving, everything seems fine, the vehicle drives well, so the keyless system problem message is no longer displaying on the dash, so that's good. So now we're gonna test the start-stop system. So right now we're driving, if I come to a complete stop, the engine will shut off, and then when I let off the brake pedal, the engine will start back up. So I'm gonna come to a complete stop. So right there, the engine just shut off. So I'm gonna let off the brake pedal, the engine will start back on. So right there, perfect. So this system is now working. Before, this system wasn't working because of the bad switch. So this switch over here, let me show you the old switch. This switch over here, this switch was bad. So this was causing the stop-start system to not work on this vehicle. Okay, so this is good. So let's keep driving. So now let's drive back to the shop. So we're gonna come up to another stop sign here. So I'm gonna make a full stop. We're gonna test our start-stop system again. So right there, the engine just shut off. So this is good. This system is now working. So I'm gonna let off the brake pedal. So right there, perfect. Already. So this is fixed. This was a quick and dirty one. So I'm going to drive back to the shop. I'm gonna turn off the camera. I'll bring you guys back up once I get to the shop so we can wrap up this video. So see you at the shop. Alright guys, so we're back here at the shop. Everything is fine. The engine runs well. The engine start-stop system is now working. The problem was a defective push start button. I also showed you how to replace this push start button. So the problem was this one over here. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it right over here, guys. I hope you like this video. If you do like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumb down. But if you do, you gotta tell me why so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell so that you can get notified every time I upload a new video. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.